Welcome to Just Cook It Radio, where delicious recipes and real cooking lead to amazing dishes. We cook, you listen. It works. With your hosts, Chef Mario Pareca and Bill Alexander.
Good morning, good afternoon, good evening. You're listening to Just Cook It right here on the Just Cook It Radio Network, and you can watch the show if you're into that sort of thing at justcookit.tv. I am Mario.
Wait. You better hope they're into that thing. Like I said, I'm doing too much work if they're not.
So you better watch the show.
Yeah, thank you.
Everyone immediately watch the show.
Go to the YouTube channel right now.
Justcookit.tv. And that was Bill Alexander that you heard across the desk, the always thirsty Mike Sackley.
Always thirsty, especially today because we're 2 days away from Cinco de Mayo.
Yes, this is Just Cook It de Mayo.
Okay.
Cinco de Just Cook It, whatever you want to call it.
But
we're celebrating.
You know what tomorrow is, don't you?
May 4th.
And it is Star Wars Day.
That's right.
May the 4th be with you.
That's right.
It's for people that lisp. Anyhow.
We'll just glance over that one.
Yeah.
So, Cinco de Mayo coming up on Monday. See, I had a real conundrum, and that's I'm using big words today, just maybe this once.
Right.
I had a big conundrum this week as I was deciding on what we should make for today's show, because Monday's Cinco de Mayo, but it's also Derby weekend.
Oh, yes, that's right.
So, did we want to do mint juleps? Did we want to do...
Good point. I never thought of that. I mean, we've had such a long, drawn-out winter. We never thought spring was going to get here. And now, you're right, Kentucky Derby just stuck up on us.
Mm-hmm. So, Mike, are you ready for the Derby?
Oh,
you have your
ready.
horses picked out? Your horse picked out?
I don't like to bet on things, but if I did, I'd probably be on the Derby. So, I'll pick a horse.
And who are you betting on between the Pens and the Highlanders after last night?
The Islanders.
The Rangers.
Yeah, the Rangers, I mean.
I don't know. That was a tough one last night.
That was awful.
When you lose a game at home like that, it's a tough way to start the series.
Yeah.
But they got to win.
They have
Sunday.
to win tomorrow.
They got to win Sunday.
Don't worry, the Pirates picked them up.
Go Bucks.
That's right.
It was official yesterday morning, from what I heard, that the Pirates officially stink now. So.
Oh yeah. They were. Well, they're not as bad as they've been playing. I mean,
I love that line. They're not as bad as they're playing.
They have good talent. I mean, but up to this point, they're over the last couple weeks, you can say they're the worst team in the major leagues.
That's
the way
right.
they're playing. But
hey, I'll be there Tuesday
case,
night, so that should boost them up. So we'll see what happens.
Well, they better circle that on their calendar.
Circle that on the calendar.
That's right. See if you can talk to some players.
Hey, works for me. Something real quick before we get into it. I posted on Facebook, and I want to thank everybody that sent condolences. My grandmother passed away yesterday as of 95 years old, and she's a wonderful woman. She passed away yesterday, and everybody that's been posting condolences and everything on Facebook and on Twitter, thank you very much. Really appreciate that. So it was a very odd phone call last night. So again, thank you very much. I wanted to get that out there before we got too far in the show.
Get the serious stuff out of the way first. So, Cinco de Mayo. Mike's got it. Look, did you see his eyes light up? Mike's, for those of you listening, Mike Sackley's eyes just lit up.
Well, there's something about, when I was in college, there was just something kind of like immaculate about that holiday.
ASU.
Yes. Well, I mean, not just being there, but I think it's all around the country. Even though it's, a Mexican holiday.
What's really funny, and most of the audience know this, I come from Mexican heritage. My grandfather was Mexican, and my grandmother, who just passed away, his wife, wasn't. So it was the two cultures going together, and they lived in Albuquerque. And I knew what Cinco de Mayo was at a very young age in Mars, Pennsylvania, but no one else did. It didn't become popular within the last 15 or 20 years because it just didn't.
In this area. But
I knew what it was. And it was really interesting to bring those heritage, but you being at Arizona State.
Right.
I mean, they probably partied the weekend before and the weekend after.
Well, for young people, I mean, if you think about it, this time of year, St. Patrick's Day and Cinco de Mayo are the two biggest drinking holidays.
Well,
what does that say about our culture? Think about it.
But in Arizona State, I mean, I've been to Arizona a few times, and I know that there's a large Mexican population there. So, I mean, if you're going to party for Cinco de Mayo, that's probably the place that it's going to be.
That's right.
There, San Diego, around in that area would be bumping.
Oh, definitely.
The difference is, though, what you drink. Obviously, St. Patrick's Day, it's more of an Irish beer type of deal, maybe
Guinness.
some Jameson, but, Cinco de Mayo, it's got to be tequila.
Margaritas.
And margaritas.
And we're going to make a margarita later on in the program. So, Mike,
yes.
buckle up, baby. Isn't that what everyone's saying? So that's our version right there. But first thing we're going to make for our Cinco de Mayo extravaganza is we're going to make some guacamole. Okay. And I'm a big fan.
I like it.
Guacamole, but we're going to do it a little. I found I have a simpler way, something that's a little.
I have had some really good guacamole, and I've had some really bad guacamole. And I'm really hoping this turns out to be very good guacamole.
You and me both. Now I'm nervous. So I've made guacamole many times.
Yeah. Except now you have pressure on you.
Yes. So the most difficult thing about making guacamole, especially in this area, is finding good avocados.
Right.
I mean, because avocado is the basis of guacamole. I've got 2 here, and the only way to really know how ripe your avocado is when you're going to buy it is you have to feel it. I mean, you don't want it to be too soft, because if it's too soft, it's overripe and it'll be brown and mushy. But you don't want it to be extremely hard, because if it's too hard, it's not going to mash or puree as well.
When you buy an avocado, you do not buy a green one.
Right.
You buy them when they start to turn and get into the color that Mario has in his hand.
And you want to feel them. They should have a little give. This one feels pretty good, actually. It may be a little tad on the underside, but it's pretty close.
That's not bad.
Right. So I'm gonna cut these, and I'm gonna show you how to do that. And you can call us if you like. Talk about all your Cinco de Mayo festivities or whatever else you want to talk to us about. 855-590-0590 is the number. Again, that's 855-590-0590. Don't be a stranger. So, to cut an avocado and to peel it, the easiest way I find is, what we're going to do is we're first going to cut in half, because avocados have a big pit in the center.
Yes.
So you cut down until you hit the pit, and then you just kind of go around like this.
Have you ever taken the avocado seed out or the pit out and tried to grow your own avocado tree?
I haven't.
It's really a cool thing to do. It's one of those things that you do with kids. You take it in, you put 4 toothpicks all the way around, sit it in a glass of water, and it will sprout on the bottom and start coming up again. It's one of those neat things. If you ever get it and you have no idea what to do with the pit, try growing an avocado tree.
Well, the problem in this area is
it gets cold. You leave it in the house.
It's too cold, but it can't be done. So what you do is you twist it, and it comes into 2 halves like that.
Right.
So you can see this giant pit. Now, to get the pit out, you take your knife right into it, and you twist. Now, this knife's
there a little.
There you go. Now, when you take the seed, and everyone watching on TV watches, when you take this pit off of the knife, you don't just grab it, because I made that mistake many times. This is hard. Yeah, you pull it, and then the back of your hand hits the blade, and you get cut. So you want to get a towel, put it in your towel, and then you can pull the pit right out. And then this can get discarded, unless you want to grow an avocado tree. So we'll do this again. I'll show you.
Give me that pit. My kids say I never bring anything home for them.
There you go. You can take an avocado pit. So now, to peel these bad boys, I got 2 of them here. I'm going to cut them so the avocados are quartered. Okay. And these actually do look pretty nice.
They do. They look good.
And these are bought locally. So, look at that.
Well, that's one thing that's nice about where we live and the time we live in, because a lot of this fruit you can get year-round. And it usually is ripe, and it's coming from, now these are California avocados, or are they coming up from South America?
I believe they're California.
Okay.
So then you can just kind of, once you have it quartered, you can just kind of pull the skin off. It'll just kind of peel right off.
And are they organic?
No, they're not.
Oh, okay.
Now you have to take what you can get.
I understand that.
They had organic. You better believe I would have bought organic.
I know that too. I know that too.
So we're going to peel. Now, traditional guacamole is done in a mortar and pestle, where you just mash it up and you want it to be kind of chunky. But we're going to do ours in a mini food processor I have here. It's just a little bit easier, and if you're afraid your avocados, which I was a little worried last night, if your avocados aren't ripe, quite ripe enough, that's the best way to do it. Right, because if they're a little bit on the unripe, if they're not ripe and they're a little on the tough side, mortar and pestle is not going to get the job done.
And most people have to be a pharmacist to have a mortar and pestle, so it works out really well.
Right. Yeah. And avocados will oxidize. So much like apples that turn brown once you cut them, avocados will also turn brown. The way, again, much like apples, to keep them from turning is acidity, acidulated water. So we're going to use lime juice. Right. We're going to use actually a little mayonnaise.
They used to make something, and I don't know if they still make it or not, but you would sprinkle it on the avocado. So when it was called accent, and you would put it on there to keep it preserved just a little bit longer to be able to do it. And I don't remember what it was. If anybody else does, please give us a call, because I never thought of that until just now.
So we're just going to take these. I'm just going to rough chop them to get them in the food processor. I like how you just glanced over what just happened. Don't tell them. No one will ever know
that you dropped one of the pieces on the floor.
Thanks, Bill.
A floor like this, that's not coming back.
Well, but the best part is we're on TV. There's cameras everywhere, and he's looking at me like, I didn't do it. Honest, I didn't do it.
It's camera tricks.
Yeah.
That's what my dad used to say when I was little, and I used to watch. We used to watch movies.
Yeah.
And things would happen, and I couldn't figure out how they got that to happen in the movie, or like, for instance, The Wizard of Oz.
Right.
How they where's Oz? I'd say, ask my dad. I'd say, well, how do they do that? His answer would always be camera tricks.
Camera tricks.
So yeah, that's what that was. Camera tricks.
Exactly.
So we're gonna rough chop our avocados. We're gonna put it in our food processor here.
So while you rough chop the other 3 pieces, why don't we take our first break?
Pieces.
4 pieces. I'm sorry. The 5th one's on the floor. Anyhow.
Don't tell anyone. It's camera tricks.
So let's take our first break.
Okay. Don't touch that radio dial. When we get back with more Just Cook It, we're going to make our guacamole, and then we are going to talk margaritas and begin to make a margarita so that Mike Sackley will be happy and continue to produce our show for us. So We'll be right back with more Just Cook It right here on the Just Cook It Radio Network.
Phil Giannetti Motors at 656 National Pike East in Brownsville is a proud sponsor of programming on FCTV. Phil Giannetti Motors providing quality vehicles for 45 years. If you're looking for a quality pre-owned vehicle, give Phil Giannetti's a call at 724-785-6800 or stop by their website, philgiannettymotors.com.
Welcome back to Just Cook It Radio here on the Just Cook It Radio Network and also at justcookit.tv. Yours truly, Bill Alexander, along with Mario Parecka and Mike Sackley on the other side of the room. And we were talking about the old WMBS softball team from many years ago.
Resurrecting it.
I didn't know they had one until you told me.
Yes, we had one in 2000. Someone had a bright idea that we needed a softball team. So all of us went out to play. I think Chuck Durso was on the team, myself, Ron Dawson. Let's see, I could probably go through the list of the ones that were on there, but we were awful.
Yeah. Did you have enough players?
Yeah, we had enough players.
Okay.
But we had family members in that of the station play. There was a couple advertisers that did too, but yeah, we were bad. But again, it's one of those sports where you can hit and carry a beer in the same at the same time. So again, it's a good
nothing
sport.
wrong with that.
That and bowling. They're the only two sports.
That's the enticing part about doing
exactly
softball
right.
is the multitasking.
Hey, speaking of old radio.
So that's why you joined the league.
Yes, that's it.
Speaking of old radio, I heard this was brought up this week, and AM 1130 WASP AM is off the air. It's been off the air for 2 years. It's no longer a competitor, okay? Just to let you know that, okay? Second, the guy that started the Beeline, his name on the station was Bob Williams, which everybody now knows his name is Bob Logue. Just want to get that out there. Bob does live in the area still, and yes, he's an activist for tax reform. And when I used to work here and did the overnight show, I was Bob Logue's opening act. I did my show here from 10 until midnight. Bob went on to KDKA from midnight until 6 a.m. Best part, I'm on my way home from leaving here, and one of my callers called Bob Logue and says, "You know Bill Alexander, don't you?" And Bob goes, "No." He goes, "Well, he's your opening act on WMBS, and he tells us to turn the dial to you guys." I wish I would have been able to record the conversation. It was hilarious as I'm driving home. So, But I know Bob, and I know Mr. Rayfield didn't know who he was, and I had to get that out there as I texted him the information. This is who the man is. Great guy, nice guy, and he was one of the reasons why WASP AM went on the air in 1968.
There's your history lesson.
There
Mike.
you go.
I needed some history today.
Well, the funny thing is, and I told my wife, I said, if you ever want to work in radio in Western Pennsylvania, you need to know who came before you, because if you don't, people still talk about them. And you got to know who they were, because if you don't, you're going, and you really don't want to do that as I get lemon squirted
or lime
all
it's
over
lime.
me.
It's lime, all right?
Lemon lime.
Jeez. I am covered in lime juice right now.
I can think of worse things.
Yeah, well, that's true, too.
Okay, so we added our lime to our avocados, as Bill so nicely pointed out. And now I'm going to add some mayonnaise. Helps make
You put mayonnaise in everything.
Just say that.
Well, sometimes. I mean, this is like a secret ingredient. This
just gonna
helps
say.
make it creamier, and there's some extra acidity in the mayonnaise.
Okay.
So it'll help keep it from turning. So if you're going to make guacamole and you want to make it a day or two ahead of time, if you add a little mayonnaise to it, it'll help it stay green.
I got you.
Okay, so we're going to puree this up.
Here we go.
Just kind of grind it, blend it.
Sound effects. As we can't talk, because all we're looking at it
I'm not playing this off the computer, if anyone's wondering.
These are our sound effects we loaded onto the board already.
That's right.
Okay, so now, still got some chunks in it, which is good. Here's an easy way to do this. I have some fresh cilantro here.
Okay.
Cilantro is a delicious herb. My mother doesn't like it, but I do.
Why doesn't she?
She just doesn't. She's not a fan. I mean, it's just one of those things. Some people like some stuff. Taste is very subjective. So she's not a fan.
So she won't eat your guacamole then?
If there's cilantro in it, no.
Do you tell her there's cilantro in it?
No, but she knows. Oh. She can taste. I believe me. We've gotten into many a fight, and I don't want to say fight, but a disagreement, argument over me trying to make her taste stuff that she doesn't like. No, there's none of that in it, and she knows. I mean, because my thing is the way that I operate. There's very few things that I don't care for.
Right.
But there are a couple. But if they're there, I will always try them because tastes change. Well, so you may like it that time.
You brought your dad in on the air. You need to bring Mom on the air.
Mom's shy.
So all the cameras are pointing at her, and the microphones are on, and she has to like it. I learned that the hard way.
No, she doesn't.
The best one we ever did that with is when you did their first appearance on Going Live with Matt Dowling. Mm-hmm. You had no idea who any of us were. You came in, you made this meal, and Matt doesn't eat vegetables at all. And you made
does now.
And you made the first recipe, and he's just looking, going, "Am I supposed to eat this or what?" And he has TV cameras pointing all at him. Does that ever happen to you when you were in Altoona or in
that people don't like?
That people are afraid to taste what you make?
No, people they always taste it. I've had times where I'll go in and make something and they'll say, I don't prefer that ingredient or whatever, but it's tough. At that point, if they don't tell me ahead of time, anything's fair game.
I will tell you this, and I'm being totally honest with the audience, is that when him and I started doing this show, I was a picky eater. The 6 months or how long we've been cooking on the air now, I'm pretty much eating everything, which is amazing because you did open that door up, and I was basically forced under the gun because, again, I have cameras at me, I have a microphone in front of me, and you can't really fake liking something. Yeah. But everything so far,
like a little peer pressure.
Yeah, but honestly, everything you've made so far, I haven't had a complaint with. But there's going to be that day that I'm going to look at you and say, "You're nuts."
We'll try to make that happen.
It was like the day you made put the pumpkin in the tomato soup, which I still rave about. That was wonderful.
Good. We'll have to make that again.
You also have to make the ribs again too.
Oh, the barbecue.
Yeah, that was good.
Okay, so we added our cilantro, and now, if you're making this in a mortar and pestle, and if you're doing it the traditional way, you're going to want to chop the cilantro by hand and then fold it in. Since we're doing the food processor, it's just way more convenient to throw it in the food processor. It's actually very nice and green. It could go for St. Patrick's Day. I gave it a rough chop with my knife, the cilantro, before I added it in, just to kind of help it out a little bit. And now what we're going to do is we're going to transfer this to a mixing bowl. Very creamy. Okay, yeah, I kind of like that. But, you can do it however you like. You can keep the ingredients the same. Now, traditional guacamole has also got in it onions, tomatoes, different garnishes. And what I did, I like shortcuts. Of course. As long as it doesn't take away from the dish, I like to use shortcuts. So, me being the MacGyver that I am, what I did was I bought some salsa at the local supermarket. It's just regular chunky salsa. It's medium. And I put it in cheesecloth. I took about 5 tablespoons, put it in cheesecloth, and just wrung it out to get the excess moisture off of it. So now we have a flavorful mix of peppers, tomatoes, onions, garlic that we didn't have to chop and clean and do all that. With a little bit of a kick to it. Yeah. I mean, if you like hot, you can always get hot, and they're spicy. I got the medium because I don't know how Mike exactly prefers his. Him and ASU, you have to eat it hot. It's kind of required. I was going to say it has to. We have some cayenne here, so I can kick it up. Yeah. So we're going to add, this is what the salsa looks like once you wring it out, once you get all that stuff out of it. It smells like salsa. I hope. You never know. Add that in there. Any brand of salsa you used? Or whatever your favorite is. Okay. So we're just going to fold that in. Smells good. Smells a lot lime, but it smells good. Makes life easier. That's because you're covered in it. Yeah, I know. My brand new yellow shirt that I got from my Fresh Air VW Club, and now I'm covered in lime juice. And then... Oh, by the way, while he does it, I got a Big Barn shirt given to me today. I'd like to thank the guys at the Big Barn
for my shirt. See, it has a little big barn guy right there. So thank you very much to them.
Big barn.
That's
cool.
The
Amish guy has a name. I can't remember what it is. We'll have to ask Jim.
Yeah, please. Maybe
he told me when we were at the home show.
That was my grandfather, but that's okay.
You know who it was meant for. So, I seasoned this now with some celery salt.
Yeah.
And some cayenne.
Okay.
And we're going to taste it just to make sure that it's there, seasoning-wise. But that's really all she wrote.
That is really basic. If I had a food processor at home, even I could do that.
And add a little more celery salt.
Okay. Now, wait a minute.
Yes.
That has that nasty initial MC on it.
Yeah, what about it?
And you're using it. Didn't we talk about using spices like this before? Or is it because they're convenient you're using them?
What do you mean? I don't follow.
The McCormick stuff. We talked about pepper and everything else.
Well, pepper's one thing.
Okay.
Celery salt, cayenne, those types of things you can't really grind yourself.
Okay, I just asked.
I mean, you can, don't get me wrong, but it's just that stuff's okay, and I go through it fast enough.
Right, so it's still fresh.
Yeah, black pepper, though, you always want to grind yourself.
Where do you get celery seed from? Does it come from actual celery?
I believe so.
I've never seen seeds in celery before.
Yeah, there's celery seed. They grind it, mix it with salt.
But come to think of it, what would it grow from?
Whole celery seed's great for like pork and different things.
You rub it on?
Can use, you can make a rub with it.
I've had that before.
Put it in brines, pickling. Any pickling liquid usually has celery seed in the liquid. So here's our guacamole. I'm going to pass that to you, Bill.
Ooh.
And I have plates.
It's very green, if you can tell.
That's a good thing.
It is a good thing.
Okay, so here's some plates. And what's my favorite corn chip?
Something with a scoop on it.
Very good. And guess what else I found? Multi-grain scoops.
Fantastic.
Not only they're
multi-grain
good for
scoops.
You. Yes.
This just feels wrong.
But it's right in so many ways. There you go, sir.
It's right, but it's wrong.
Oh, that's classic.
So we got our multi-grain scoops.
Mr. Sackley.
Thank you, sir.
So, there's our guac, and
these look fascinating.
Guacamole you can use in so many different ways.
Yeah.
You can put it on burgers.
Guacamole burgers, yeah.
Yep. You can put it on fajitas. You can put it on whatever, really.
There is a restaurant out there that did guacamole in Albuquerque called Blake's Lotta Burger, and they did a guacamole burger. It was a local fast food restaurant that was just prominent in Albuquerque, and I never had one, but I was told they were wonderful.
And guacamole really isn't that bad for you.
I was going to say, it's all natural.
Right.
There really isn't anything that is not.
If you don't use them, if you substitute the mayonnaise, but there's not enough mayonnaise in it to really make it that bad.
But it's not Miracle.
No, it's mayonnaise. And so, avocados are actually, believe it or not, of course they're a fruit, but botanically they're actually a berry.
Are they really?
Mm-hmm. And they are high in fat, but it's unsaturated fat. It's actually good fat.
Good
People who eat avocados, they've actually found in studies their good cholesterol's gone up and their bad cholesterol's gone down.
That's good.
So, thank you. So
this classifies as good guacamole. There you
go.
Good.
I'm glad I could help.
It's good.
And you can actually, if you want it greener, now this is nice and green. I mean, this is a good job on this. But if you actually want it greener, there's a couple ways you can do that. You can either add parsley to it, because it's not that. As long as you have the cilantro in there, the cilantro will always overpower the parsley. And you could also make a chlorophyll. And we can learn how to do that in a later episode with spinach.
Oh.
Because spinach is a very neutral flavor. Any herb you mix with spinach
guacamole sounds good.
It's going to taste like the other herb and not the spinach. So a lot of different things we used to make green: basil oil, pastas, you name it. We would use spinach as the base and then flavor it with the other herb.
That makes sense.
Because you get the color from the spinach and the flavor.
I have to send this recipe to my aunt in Albuquerque, so I mean, she'll like this one.
Now you can use fresh diced onion, roasted garlic. You can flavor it with however you like. I just think it's easier to use the salsa. But I
also think that when people do that also starts what's interfering with the taste of the guacamole. Well, when you start adding all that, and then you get that.
Depending on how much
you add, because some people overdo it because they cut the onion, they go, you know what, I'm just going to throw it all in there, and it just overpowers it. And you don't have the taste like you do here.
Right. I like to taste the avocado, because that's the base of it, and that's what I like. But Mike, what do you think?
I'm just a fan.
When I grow my avocado tree next year, we'll have avocados so we can do it.
From the seed
from the seed that I have right here. Yeah. So this is the official Just Cook It Radio avocado
Make sure you get a good look. That's the last time you'll see it like that.
As that, I'll post photos starting on Monday of its growing process.
So we're gonna make this margarita now, and this is one that back in let me think, what was it? I want to say March of 2013, I believe it was. I believe it was March 22nd of 2013. This was featured in my For Starters column.
I thought it was like the day you invented it, like they did the flux capacitor in Back to the Future when he fell off the toilet and bashed his head on the commode.
It's a day in infamy. March 22nd, 2013 will live on in infamy. It was the day that I discovered this margarita.
Yeah.
Now let me make it for you.
Yes.
But anyway, so what we're going to do here is this is a Chipotle sage margarita. Okay, I really enjoyed this. And the recipe I paired it with in that column was actually a Chipotle and sage quesadilla, which is actually very good too.
So what was in the column this week?
This week was was a Grey Goose and club soda and asparagus wrapped with prosciutto. I thought about doing that recipe this week too. We may do that next week because May is actually National Asparagus Month.
Okay.
So we're going to have to do something with asparagus at some point this month. It's also National Barbecue Month. Ooh. So we'll have to figure something out with barbecue there as well.
I saw the Grey Goose yesterday. I'm like, yes, he gets it. Yeah. This is fantastic.
We can do a little Grey
as
Goose
much as I hate to say this, I've never had Grey Goose before. Never.
If you grew up in a box or what?
Yeah, I've never had Grey Goose.
We'll have to make that. We'll have to.
I've introduced you guys to Shiners now.
We'll introduce you to Grey Goose. Grey Goose is my favorite vodka. A lot of people think it's overrated. I don't. I think it's delicious. It's it's smooth.
Is it?
It's when you taste, you think vodka tastes a certain way, but once you taste Grey Goose, then that other vodka doesn't taste. It tastes dirty.
Because
to me,
I've had Absolute. I've had
Absolute's not bad.
Stolies.
I'm not.
And that was the one that everybody said was so wonderful because I remember that one in the mid '80s, late '80s, because it was coming from Russia and everything else. And I've Absolute. But the thing is, I don't drink it anymore because the only way I knew to drink vodka was with orange juice in screwdrivers, and it just.
Grey Goose is actually made in Champagne, France.
Okay.
So they use the same barrels and things that they use to make champagne.
Oh, so there's going to give that a little bit of a residual.
So it's got that. Cool. It's a French grape, and it's just. Mike, you've had Grey Goose, right? It's just it tastes cleaner. Yes. It has less of a bite. You know that heat kick from like hard liquor. Grey Goose has less of a bite. It's smooth. It tastes clean. If you go out and you get a well vodka soda and you get a Grey Goose vodka soda, you can tell the difference like that. I mean, because one just tastes cleaner, more refreshing, more pure, and the other one just tastes. To me, it's like it's dirty. Right. That's what it is. Heavier, dirtier, and that's the difference. That's why I like Grey Goose. But again, don't let me tell you how to live your life. You do what you do. Right. You like something else, you use that. Now, as far as tequila goes for this margarita, I'm not a tequila fan myself. Okay, it has to be. There's certain tequilas I will drink and certain ones that I won't.
No Jose Cuervo.
No, I don't do Cuervo. It just and I've never had.
I was going to say
I've never had a bad experience with it. Like most people who say I had a bad experience, I can't drink it anymore. I just don't really care for it. It's just
no worm in the bottom of the bottle.
Patron, on the other hand, I can do. I like Patron. So we have some Patron here today. This is just Patron Silver, so it's not the highest.
And that did not come out of my booze bag today, just to let you guys know.
Well, we can say that.
Okay,
this is from
true.
Bill's Magical Booze Bag presents this margarita. So a margarita typically is tequila, lime juice, orange liqueur. It's a splash. Okay, and then you salt the rim and all that stuff. We're not going to salt the rims of our glasses today or anything like that, but if you look at the recipe, there is a way to make it.
We're drinking out of styrofoam is what I'm getting.
That's why.
Our fine china. But if you look at the recipe, there is a way to you mix sugar, salt, sea salt, sugar, and some lime zest and some dried sage.
Okay.
And then you put that and you lime juice your rim, and then you rub that on the rim. It's really delicious. So
why don't before we go into this, why don't we take our final
because
break?
Mike Sackley's going to have to run and get us our ice so we can shake this. And then when we get back from this break, we are going to make our Chipotle sage margarita, and we'll talk more about that and the ingredients that go into it. So don't touch that radio dial. We've got more Just Cook It after these messages right here on the Just Cook It Radio Network.
Phil Giannetti Motors at 656 National Pike East in Brownsville is a proud sponsor of programming on FCTV. Phil Giannetti Motors, providing quality vehicles for 45 years. If you're looking for a quality pre-owned vehicle, give Phil Giannetti's a call at 724-785-6800 or stop by their website, philgiannettimotors.com.
I'm chewing. Welcome back to Just Cook It Radio here on the Just Cook It Radio Network.
Thanks, Mike.
And also at JustCookIt.tv. I'm eating guacamole and chips.
We all are.
Which is fantastic,
This is a
by the
great
way.
Super
It
Bowl
is.
party.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There we go.
It's so
Pens
hard.
Playoffs.
That's the hardest part of our job is trying to eat while we're on the air because we're not very patient.
I feel like I'm getting some culture today, which is good.
Especially when it's crunchy.
Yeah. I'm getting,
So-
it's a good show.
Our time to make our margarita. So what we're gonna do? I have a cocktail shaker here. It's got ice in it, about filled about halfway.
Yeah.
To this, I'm going to add. We've got our tequila here, our Patron. I'm cracking it for the first time. This is a brand new mini bottle.
It's a big moment. Yes.
What,
Look at that.
what does a bottle of that cost?
This?
Yeah.
Depends on what size you get. This is a little one. This is 200 milliliters. This is about $16.
Wow.
That's
This is
for
good
that.
stuff.
A little one.
The three, you can get one at 375 milliliters. That one's about $25.
Okay.
And then they had a giant one, which was like a half gallon. It was like $105.
I need that one.
Wow.
Yeah.
That'll last Mike about an
week.
evening.
Yeah.
So we're gonna have a cocktail measure here. We're gonna do 3 ounces.
Load it up.
Patron.
I'm still waiting for you to crack that bottle of rum you got.
Delicate process right now.
Right over our ice. Okay, so there's our tequila.
Okay.
And then to this I'm gonna add, I have about a teaspoon here of orange liqueur, 2 ounces of lime juice, fresh squeezed lime juice, by
I
the
love
way.
it how it got all quiet as he's mixing this.
And
the big stuff.
here's the Chipotle Sage simple syrup that I made. So the recipe's online at justcookit.net. Basically, you take water, chipotle powder, and fresh sage. Bring it to a boil, let it simmer for 10 minutes covered, turn it down to a simmer.
Right.
Then you take it off, you strain it through a coffee filter, and then you add 3/4 cup of sugar, bring it back to a boil till the sugar dissolves. Then you chill it down, and you have your simple syrup.
Okay.
It's a little spicy, it's a little smoky.
That's what I was
really
going to ask
enjoy
you.
it.
What's the purpose of that? To give it a little bit of kick?
Gives it some flavor. It's spicy, smoky, has a little sweetness to it.
Okay, that makes
Now we're gonna
sense.
shake.
You need shaking music.
What do you got, Mike?
I don't know. Nothing up to date enough, I don't think.
Give it a little flair. So we'll shake it, get it nice and chilled.
But wait a minute. Oh, I was going to say, I want martinis. I like mine shaken and not stirred.
Shaken, not stirred, Mr. Bond. So
Yeah.
I'm going to pour this in a cup. The only reason I'm doing this right now, we're going to pour it over fresh ice.
Yeah.
The only reason I'm doing this is so that I can divide it evenly.
Okay.
It's very thoughtful of you.
That is
Yeah.
very nice.
Although Mike just wants all of it to himself.
I'll take the whole thing.
There is some salt there if you guys want some salt with your tequila, with your...
I can't put it around the rim of my styrofoam cup.
No, but you can put it on your finger or something. Okay. So we're going to separate this.
We're roughing it is what we're doing.
This is how we do it on the radio.
Yeah. Which is fine. I mean, hey, it gives you the taste and everything else. And for the audience out there, you're getting firsthand experience of what it is and how it works and how it tastes.
There you have it.
So, Mr. Sackley.
Try it. I hope it's good. It might be a little spicy. Should be a little sweet. Happy Cinco.
Oh, it smells good.
Margaritas.
That's good.
Tasty.
I like it.
I like it too. That's really good.
Taste the, you get a little heat in it, but not so much it's going to make you choke.
And it goes well with the lime.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it's a group of flavors that go very well together.
So what Chipotle is, other than a restaurant that you can go to, which is like a Mexican fast food place, it's a pepper. They take jalapenos. Jalapenos, the kind you're used to seeing at the store, the green ones. That's when they're picked before they're completely ripe. But if you leave them on the vine, they'll turn red.
Yes.
So they pick them when they're red, then they smoke them. And they smoke them for a long period of time, so the smoke actually dehydrates them as well. So you get these dried, smoked jalapenos, and that's what a chipotle is.
My dad, again, as I said, where the family comes from, my aunt will send my dad a hanging bunch of jalapenos that are dried, and he hangs them they're in the house, and he hangs them, and whenever he cooks or anything like that, or my brother does now, they chop them up and put them in, and they have some heat to them.
Oh yeah, they're good.
They're real good.
The heat will actually kind of concentrate, so they'll actually get hotter when you smoke them. But when you buy it at the store, you can buy the powder in the spice section. You can buy a jar of chipotle powder, and that's what I use to make the simple syrup. And it's smoky, it's got some heat to it, but when you use it like this, and once you add the sugar to it, it's not overpoweringly hot, and you're not going to spicy, and you're not going to put that much into it. So you get the kick, the acidity from the lime juice, the heat, and a little bit of sweetness from the simple syrup. Then obviously your tequila and a little orange from the orange liqueur. It all works well.
It's very good. It goes well with the chips and the sauce. We were talking about the multi-grain chips in the end, and every time you hear multi-grain, you think of blah. These are really good. We'd like to thank our friends at Frito-Lay and Tostitos for creation of the multi-chips.
I had to try another one now that you mentioned it.
Yeah.
I'll tell you what. I mean, you're right about the margarita. It's got a little bit of everything.
Yeah.
I mean, and the Patron, I think, is a nice touch.
Yes.
You know, it's just. I mean, you can't go wrong.
No.
Cinco de Mayo.
Again, very good.
Why, are you a Cuervo fan, Mike?
I drank a lot of Cuervo. I don't want to say I drank a lot, but
I drank a lot of Cuervo, but that was this morning.
I guess the cat's out of the bag. Huh?
Mom and Dad are so proud how much proud of you for how much they paid for that ASU.
Right? Exactly. It went such a long way.
Yeah.
But no, I think in college, Cuervo was kind of the main way to go.
And I'm wondering if that is because that's the name that everybody recognizes. Right. Because when you talk about that, and when you're introduced to this kind of stuff, you usually drink what Mom and Dad drank or what's popular. And that's the thing about it.
There's another upscale tequila that's it's harder to find. I can't remember the complete name off the top of my head. It's Don something. Is it Don Juan or Don? Because now, when I was at the store yesterday, I was looking at tequilas because I had to get some more Patron because it didn't last very long at my house making margaritas and such. But you can get 1800 tequila is one there. Cuervo, obviously, the different types of Cuervo, Patron. And then it's either Don Juan or Don... Are you looking
Don Julio?
Don Julio, that's it.
That's good.
I hear a lot of good things. I've had it once or twice, and it's really a good tequila. Don Julio.
I like the Patron though; it's a good touch to this one.
Yeah, Patron's one of my favorites. So
very
that's
good.
why we're using it. We got our margarita. How are you celebrating your Cinco de Mayo? There's still time to call us. We got about 6 or 7 minutes left. 855-590-0590. I'll actually be in Altoona on WTAJ TV I'll be making the same things I made here because
margarita.
How can you go wrong? We'll do this margarita, and I'm going to make some.
I might show
guacamole. You come with me? You want to come?
Well,
you're not working Monday, are you?
I am working.
Oh, okay.
I wish I wasn't now.
You coming down with something? It sounds like. Mike, you sound a little stuffy.
Actually, drink a few of these, and you won't be stuffy much longer.
You'll feel a lot better.
A lot better. Yeah, I don't do much for Cinco de Mayo, but again, with 3 kids and
I thought if anyone
work schedule.
If anyone would do so for Cinco de Mayo, it would be you, Bill, with your heritage.
No, not, and that's really odd. No, we don't do much of anything for it. Soccer practice on Monday evening, but that's about it. That's my high point.
Cinco de Soccer.
Yeah, Cinco de Soccer. That's my high point for the day. But and we have a game tomorrow too, so looking forward to that.
Good luck.
We have
a caller.
We have June on the line.
Oh, hi, June. How are you?
Hi, June.
Hi, I called you quite a while ago when you were talking about the watering trough.
Yes.
And I told you about a pipe that came out of the side of the mountain on the Jamonville Road.
Yes.
That has been capped.
Uh-oh.
Because it was right at the beginning of a curve. And it was a dangerous attraction.
Because people were pulling over and trying to get it, and it would have caused an accident. That makes sense. I mean, that's probably a good thing they did it, but too bad.
Yes, but I called to tell you about my Cinco de Mayo.
Oh, cool.
Actually, it's not going to happen on the 5th. It's going to happen on the 7th. Our church is having a calendar party, and I chose May.
Okay.
And my theme is Cinco de Mayo.
Okay.
And we are having the regular food and the regular hors d'oeuvres. But my desserts and my drink, I went to a local Mexican restaurant. Am I allowed to mention it?
Oh, sure.
It's Fiesta Azteca.
They make great nachos there.
Well, I'm not doing nachos. For dessert, I don't know the name of it, but it's a flat dough. I guess that's whatever. And then it's baked, so it's crispy and crunchy. And
Bill knows what that is.
And it has honey and cinnamon and butter.
Does it start with an S?
Yeah.
Soplapillas.
I can't remember the name.
Soplapillas. I love those. Where's the calendar party at?
Hopwood United Methodist Church.
What time you serve? I haven't had soplapillas in ages.
Well, if you're in Uniontown, go to Fiesta.
Oh, yeah. I understand they have some really good ones. Someone told me that a while ago, and I just haven't made it there. But that's one of those things in my childhood that my grandmother used to make.
I had never eaten it before, but I wanted authentic Mexican.
Yep.
And that's what I'm serving for dessert.
Excellent.
So what are you doing for the drink?
Rice water with milk mixed in, and Ramon, the manager, told me they drink a lot of water-based drinks.
Yes.
Because of the heat and everything that's in. Can you hold a minute?
Sure.
Hello?
We got another call on the line.
No.
Someone's at the door.
Well, yeah, somebody at the door. Please be careful. There we go. Come on in. Okay.
You can't beat live radio.
No, you can't at all.
But speaking of sopapilla,
I just wanted to call and tell you about it.
we appreciate it, June.
Thank you very much.
Sure enough. Have a good day.
You too. Bye-bye.
Bye.
So speaking of sopapilla, now that June brought it up,
Yeah.
you know how when you're in school, when you're young and you're in school and you have like a birthday or whatever, and you bring treats to school?
Yeah.
My sister's go-to treat, well, I guess I should say my mother because she used to make it, but now my sister makes it now, was sopapilla cheesecake. So they would make.
I have never had that before.
You make the sopapilla, and then you'd put a cheesecake topping on it, and you bake it, and it's like that crazy. Imagine
This
like
is torture.
Yeah, imagine like a cheese Danish with a sopapilla crust. And if you're really nice, maybe I can get her to make one to bring in.
That's amazing. As I said, flashing back to all this, there was a Mexican restaurant out west too that did in Albuquerque. Why can't I think of the name of it right now? Pablo's, I think, is what it was called, and they would do it. And it was one of those restaurants where you'd raise a little flag on the table, and it was all you could eat. So you raise a little flag, and that was half the fun, was raising the flag at the table so they'd bring you more food. But that's really cool. I something I haven't thought about in ages, and again, it would be great for Cinco de Mayo.
Yeah, so thanks, June, for the call.
Yeah.
Sopapilla.
Sopapillas, wow.
Where were we? At the 4th of July at the mall, I think it was. You were looking for sopapilla?
I was like, well, they were supposed to have them. They didn't have them. They were sold out. That's when I got
Was that Fiesta?
Yes, and that's when I got the excellent nachos.
Those were good. I remember those.
That pile of nachos were amazing.
Yeah, Mike and I had those nachos.
Yeah.
Fiesta Azteca needs to send us some sopapilla. we gave them enough press on the air. I think it's only fair.
Speaking of that, I found something out the other day. That we have a listener that calls us on a regular basis, and I can't mention his name, but he really wants to be on the show with us.
Okay.
And what's unique about it is that his son, I had as a student a long time ago. Yeah. And he basically went into radio, went to Worcester, and he went into radio, and now he's in the Harrisburg area, and he wants to be on the show too.
Oh my.
So I got to get that out there to make the invite, but we're getting ready to wrap everything up here. So
we'll talk more about that next week.
That's kind of fun.
We'll have some guests on. But thank you for listening to this Cinco de Mayo edition of Just Cook It Radio. We will be back next Saturday at 9 with an all-new episode, maybe celebrating with asparagus or something fun, or sopapilla if it ever finds its way to the door.
I think we should do we can do another Cinco de Mayo after Cinco de Mayo.
Yeah, we'll do double Cinco de Mayo.
There you go.
Well, but thank you for listening. Don't forget to check out the website, justcookit.net, to get the recipes. And if you want to watch us make the guacamole and the margarita, you can do that at justcookit.tv. For Bill Alexander and Mike Sackley, I'm Mario Pareco, wishing you a happy Cinco de Mayo on Monday. And don't forget to listen to Just Cook It next Saturday again at 9 on the Just Cook It Radio Network.
Thanks for listening to Just Cook It Radio with Mario Pareca and Bill Alexander. For more information on today's program, visit the Just Cook It website at justcookit.net. Here, you can listen to the podcast or watch Mario and Bill cook today's recipe on Just Cook It TV. If you have any questions or comments about the show, please call 855-590-0590.